Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Idaho Vandals with head coach Rob Akey. I'm Dennis Patchen. How was that trip to LSU?
I'm glad we're back. I'm glad it's over with. We walked through the valley of the death, and we're home, and thank God for that.
What can you take out of that to help your team get better?
The battles within the battle that were good things we can gain from. You know, the whole week of preparation, it's what I talked to the team about on Sunday. You know, there was a lot during the week of preparation that we did benefit from, that we gained from. We practiced better, we prepared better. You know, it was, I'd like to think a lot of it had to do with, you know, I think we talked about this last week coming out of the Bowling Green game, what we talked about in the locker room and how we could prepare better. Well, the guys responded to that great, and we had better preparation during the course of the week. Better practices, better attention to the video and the little things like that I think really did help us. I've got to believe also, you know, that what they saw on video probably motivated them a little bit too, because LSU is as good as they're built, maybe better. You know, so I think that as you look through the course of the week, what we did better, I think that helped us a bunch. Little things within that, how that can still help us be better, I think has helped us. I think when you look at going in and playing an animal like that, you know, in an environment like that, you know, I don't question at all that our football team showed up and they were hungry to compete, and I think our guys fought as hard as they could, as long as they could, and I think we got worn out. You know, I think the preparation going into it wise, there were a lot of good things there. There are some parts that we can take out of the battle that were good. You know, we created some things to happen. So, for example, being down by, you know, 2 scores and be able to get an interception and take it the other way, and then our offense be able to capitalize off of an interception. Some things like that have it being, you know, we're going into, we're trying to make sure we got enough time for our offense, you know, calling a timeout to make sure we, you know, when we get the defensive stop and get the ball back, scores 21-14, and we get that opportunity. Unfortunately, we turned the ball over there, and what could, you know, we were hoping to make that you know, an even slate there at halftime with the number 2 team in the country. You know, it turns in because of the interception, you know, being a 2-score deficit. But I think there were some things within that our guys said, hey, you know, we're competing, we're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, again, everyone looks at the final score and goes, oh, but you have the football late in the second quarter against a team that many think, I'm not just me, many think is even better than Alabama, should be number 1 rated. You got the football with a chance to tie it and really tie the game at halftime. How do you take that and build that as a positive? Because you don't want to settle for, oh, we were close.
Can't. And we're not going to accept that. And I got after our team at the end of the game, to be real honest with you, because I don't want that to be the case. Everybody says, oh, well, that was great and that was good. Well, it wasn't great and good. 63-14 was the final score, and there's nothing good about that. But now, the fact, if we can have ourselves in a situation to have played half the game against that football team in that environment and be able to be within a play or two of making that be an even slate, being able to get into a slugfest with somebody like that for the case. Now, you play a game for 60 minutes. But my point is, if we can do that for part of the time, if we can do it for half of the time, if we can do it for 30 minutes, we can do it for 60 minutes. If you can do it some of the time, you can do it all the time, especially when we start playing against people that are more like us. I'd hate to admit this, but LSU's not quite like us. They're a little stronger, a little faster. They're pretty damn good, okay? I think we're pretty damn good too. We need to start playing a little bit more better. That's what we can take out of that, Dennis. That's where we can grow from, you know.
Your team got better from Eastern to Bowling Green.
Yes.
It got better from Bowling Green to LSU.
Yes.
But you don't have any wins.
Correct.
How bad does this team need a win to, I guess, to, you know, put the stamp on, yeah, we're getting better?
We need that in a big way right now, you know. And I just had a press conference a little while ago, and you're thinking, okay, so you're sitting here, you're going in your 4th ball game of the season, you don't have a win yet, and you're saying your team's going to take the field with confidence. You're damn right. We're going to take the field with confidence, and that's exactly why, because we have grown in those ways and the things that we've pointed out to those guys. And this is an opportunity, you know, that you know, we get to be back here at home. We're playing somebody that is a comparable opponent, somebody that's more like us, coming from the Mountain West Conference as opposed to the SEC, one of the elite teams in the country. Take what we've learned now. Let's start playing good football. Let's play the way that we're capable of playing, and let's get a streak started, a winning streak started of our own, and do it here. I think my guys understand that. I think they have seen what's better and how they've grown and how we need to grow. I'm anxious. I'd love to play the game tomorrow if we could.
Bad news for your team. You saw them play well against LSU. Now I expect you to do that all the time. Was that like, we may have put ourselves in a bad way? Coach Akey expects us to do that all the time now?
I hope that's what they're hearing from me, yes. And I don't think it's an I think it's a, hey, you know what? Maybe maybe we should listen. Maybe we are capable of being pretty damn good. And that's what I'm hoping that they're seeing. And you know, and I think I saw some spark in some guys' eyes that maybe they are starting to understand that a little bit.
As you transition from an opponent like LSU to an opponent like Wyoming, how does that change anything you do? You're not on the road, you're at home. It's a Mountain West team. It's not a team that's ranked 1 or 2, depending on what poll. How does that change your preparation?
A little bit, but not a lot. So what I mean by that, I think, you know, as you look at the preparation, obviously we're not going to have to travel and things like that. That makes it a little bit easier. You know, we're not going to have our offense flooded with crowd noise all week long, because that, you know, we shouldn't be getting after our offense in our own stadium. Those things should be good. I still feel that, you know, I felt like going into last week's ballgame, going to play the number 2 team in the country, you've got to have some work being done mentally to say, hey, you know what, it is okay to go down there and say, hey, I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to, you know, do what everybody says can't be done, and we're going to lay it on the line and see how good we can do, and can we beat this team. You know, that may have required some work to make sure, hey, give yourselves the freedom to be able to go in and compete. Okay, I think coming back here where we haven't had to win yet is making sure that we do still maintain the mentality that there is a confidence and we are ready to compete. And it's not, hey, so we played LSU, who's number 2 in the nation. Now we're playing somebody that's not. That doesn't mean it's just going to happen. It's going to be easy. But if you understand, hey, if we can do this and the way we went about the good things, if you'll play every snap like that, now you got a chance to play the way that we're expecting to be able to play and start beating people that we're playing that are like us.
As your guys walked off the court or the field on Saturday, what do you think they learned about themselves?
I think at that point in time they learned that they were tired, and I think that you know I think what we learned maybe came more looking at the film and in retrospect. That wasn't a good feeling, you know, when you take a look at what happened in the second half and what that scoreboard final read. And there's nothing that you can make be good about that. And you're not a competitor if you try to make that good. But I think as we sat on the plane and saw some video and assessed some things, and then as we came in on Sunday and were able to look at the positive things that were done and the battles within it, and how we can build from that, that's where I think maybe we gained a little something. But I think I had a football team that was gassed, that was you know, it had been a very physical game, a lot of tired, beaten bodies, and you know, the mentality of a 63-14 scoreboard doesn't help you.
When we come back, we'll visit with Rob Akey a little bit more about the University of Wyoming. But first, it's an interesting situation with one of Rob's receivers battling through an injury, as many players do this time of year. Alyssa Charleston has more on that.
2 of the fastest feet in NCAA football have returned to the Vandal offense this season. Wide receiver Justin Veltung is back on the turf after missing 5 games last season from a turf toe injury, which required surgery and 3 months recovery.
My feet are everything. Even the littlest pain in my feet will just distract me from anything. So just being able to get over the pain in my feet, think of other things, it's one of the hard things I have to do, but I can get through it.
Veltung proved to be an important offensive weapon for the Vandals last season, returning 2 punts for touchdowns, and currently Idaho's active leader in all-purpose yardage with 2,827. Wide receivers coach Mike Levenseller, a new face to the Vandal coaching staff this season, says Veltung can only go up from here.
I'd recruited him out of high school. Okay. So I had him in camp, and so I knew a lot about him. And I knew that he had good quickness, good ability, good route running ability. I knew he had good speed. He's got a lot of positives working for him. I would expect him to do nothing but improve.
For the second time in his career, Veltung has been named to the Paul Hornung Watch List, an award given to the most versatile player in college football each year. The next time you see Justin on the field, pay close attention to his shoes. He wears this soccer cleat made of kangaroo leather and a customized metal plate on the inside. But regardless of what he wears on his feet, Veltung's goals are clear.
As an individual, just to be a big part of this team, be able to come in clutch when the time is needed. I'm on that Hornung watch, so I want to be able to get that and just to be a WAC champ. I love playing this game with this family that I got now, and I want to make it to the NFL.
For Inside the Vandals, I'm Alyssa Charleston. Now, as we found out in the story, Veltung wears a soccer cleat instead of a regular football cleat, and that is to help better form to his foot. And I'm also a basketball player here at the University of Idaho, and we found out that we have similar feet. He has also the bunion problem with his foot, and it's hard to find a shoe that really fits your foot, usually squeezing too tight. So the good news is that he says that he is having no pain 3rd game into the season and hopes it continues.
Knock on wood on that no pain, but what's the hardest thing about playing with that foot injury?
The hardest thing is overflexion. I had to use that same metal plate. That's why he has that customized metal plate. Our trainer here actually customized that metal plate for him in a shoe. And I had to use that because when you overflex that foot, that's where the pain comes from. So hopefully that metal plate will help him with that pain.
Hopefully he'll be able to kick off something good here as the University of Wyoming will come to town. Thank you for that story. We'll continue with Inside the Vandals. Rob Akey rejoins us. We'll take a look at the Wyoming Cowboys and coming back in the Dome when Inside the Vandals continues.